All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 86th Annual Membership Meeting of Shenandoah Valley Electric Cooperative. We thank you all for being with us this evening. My name is Morgan Slavin, and I'm SVEC's Executive Assistant. I'm going to help guide us through our agenda this evening. Tonight's meeting, for your information, is going to be recorded, and it will be posted on our website. If you have questions for the SVEC board or staff at any time during the call tonight, you can press 0 and someone will assist you in taking your question. We'll answer those questions a little bit later on in the program. Please remember, do not discuss personal account-related information while you're on the phone with us this evening. Toward the end of the meeting, we'll announce the results of this year's director elections. I do want to recognize your elected board members who are with me tonight here at the room. We've got Board Chair Dr. Conrad Helsley from Shenandoah County, Vice Chair Bill Orndorff from Frederick County, Secretary Treasurer Jerry Doffelmeyer from Page County, Brent Arbogast from Rockingham, Steve Burkholder from Rockingham, Larry Haddishell from Augusta County, Robbie Marchant from the City of Winchester, Suzanne Obenshane from Rockingham County, Brian Plum from Page County, and Todd Van Horn from Frederick County. Also joining us tonight are select SVEC staff and our corporate attorney, Hannah Hutman, who we will hear from later on this evening. I would now like to announce the winners of 12 randomly selected bill credits. Each prize is for a $250 bill credit. And those winners are Mary Donovan of Winchester, John Drago of Stewart's Draft, David and Kathy Lawrence of Penlaird, Paul and Susan Morris of Cremora, Vicki Moss-Holver of Luray, Bridget Polk of Edinburgh, Linda Ricketts of Winchester, Alan Seaver of Criders, Jean Simmons of McDowell, George and Martha Sims of Winchester, Misty Spittler of Strasburg, and Wanda Wilt of Broadway. Staff will be following up with each of you individually regarding your bill credit, and we thank all the members who participated in this democratic process this evening. I'm now going to ask Wayne Hanna, SVEC's Chief Information Officer, to provide a moment of reflection as we begin our business meeting.
Let's pray. Lord, we come together this evening to do the business of the cooperative. Before we do that, we pause to ask for your guidance. Help us to have pure hearts and sound minds. In these uncertain and troubling times, you remain steadfast and certain. You bless us and provide for us. Help us to remain mindful and appreciative. You remind us to not take for granted the freedoms that we enjoy, and we lift up those that put their lives on the line every day to defend our freedom and protect and serve us. We ask a blessing on their families as well. Bless this meeting and all that participate, both here and remote. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much for that, Wayne. At this time, I'm going to introduce SVEC Board Chair Dr. Conrad Helsley to call the meeting to order.
Good evening, everyone. I am Conrad Helsley, Chair of the Board of Directors. We are happy to have you with us. To help move the meeting along, as Chair, I will accept motions and seconds on the usual routine matters such as the meeting notice and the reading of the minutes from the board members because I can see them. Everyone attending by phone can vote on motions by pressing 1 on your phone for yes and pressing 2 for no at the appropriate time. I now call this 86th meeting of the Shenandoah Valley Electric Cooperative to order. I call on Mr. Jerry Doffelmeyer, our Secretary-Treasurer, to verify the meeting's quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The total cooperative membership as of June 3rd, 2022 was 80,477 members. Article 3, Section 4 of the Cooperative's bylaws states that 2.5% of the total number of members present in person or represented by proxy shall constitute a quorum for the annual membership meeting. Also, under state law, members casting ballots online are deemed present. This 2.5% of the membership at the applicable time means 2,012 members need to be present or represented by proxy. As of 4:30 p.m., August 9th, which was the cutoff for the annual meeting registration, the number of members registered or voting online was 507, and the total members represented by proxy were 3,582. As a result, 4,089 members are recognized as attending this meeting, and therefore a quorum exists. Survey and Ballot System is the company that has handled the logistics for the meeting, including the meeting notice, proxies, and balloting. The cooperative has in its possession a certificate from that company stating that on June 28th of this year, it mailed the official notice of this 2022 annual members meeting as required by Section 4 of Article 3 of the cooperative bylaws. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Doppelmayr. I now call for the reading of the full notice of the meeting that was included in the materials mailed to all members as Mr. Doppelmayr described, or is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the notice? I have a motion and a second from members of the board who are with me at the headquarters. Is there any discussion? All members in favor signify by pressing 1 on your phone. All members opposed, press 2.
And 3 voting no from those that are on the phone.
The motion carries. I now call for the reading and the approval of the minutes of the 2021 annual meeting. A copy of these minutes has been available on our website for several weeks. Would you like for the secretary to read the minutes, or is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them as presented? I have a motion and a second from members of the board who are with me at the headquarters. Is there any discussion? All members in favor, press 1 on your phone. All members opposed, press 2.
All right, Mr. Chair, it looks like we've got 24 members on the line that voted yes and 1 that voted no.
Motion carries. As a reminder, if you have a question for the Shenandoah Valley Electric Co-op Board or staff, please press 0 at any time during this telephone meeting and someone will assist you. I am pleased to welcome you to the annual business meeting this evening. Cooperatives like Shenandoah Valley Electric Co-op were founded on the ideals of democracy. Participation from the active members like you plays an integral part in our decision-making and our board of directors' leadership. From day-to-day operations to broader issues that affect the future of the cooperative, your votes and opinions matter. Many things have changed since the co-op was founded, but Shenandoah Valley Electric Co-op has always existed to serve our members. We will continue to provide reliable and safe electric service at the best possible value for our members. I thank you for participating this evening and for allowing me to represent our membership. It is my pleasure to introduce Greg Rogers, our President and Chief Executive Officer. Mr. Rogers.
Thank you, Conrad. Good evening, everyone. and thanks for joining the meeting tonight. I want to focus on the future of the co-op, but I feel it's important to cover a few current items. First of all, 2 of our offices reopened this summer, and if you need to see us in person, our Rockingham and Luray offices are open. Our offices in Winchester and Stanton are open by appointment only, while our office in Mount Jackson does remain closed. SVEC implemented new rates this year after receiving approval in a general rate case with the State Corporation Commission. However, the most dramatic increase our members are seeing is from the cost of power at the wholesale level, which is out of SVEC's control. The increased cost of natural gas has the biggest impact on the bills that, on average for residential members, are about 20% higher than they were at the start of 2022. Natural gas is a key component for the power generating facilities that ultimately serve our territory. The cost to generate and transmit electricity to SVEC is passed through to our members on a dollar-for-dollar basis with no markup by SVEC. For details on the rate increase and the breakdown of the charges on your bill, I encourage you to visit our website. Please contact the cooperative if you would like more information as it pertains to how these changes affect your bill specifically. We're excited about the build-out process of our fiber utility network and hope to begin construction sometime in 2023. This project is meant to improve our service to our members through better communication within our distribution infrastructure. The dual benefit of our fiber project is offering a middle-mile opportunity for internet service providers to lease space from our fiber network to provide broadband service to unserved areas. SVEC will not be an internet service provider. We are not getting into the broadband business. However, our fiber backbone will pave the way for internet service providers to finish the job of offering broadband. We're excited that we can play a role in that solution. Again, fiber construction for SVEC's part should begin in 2023. As we look ahead to making progress on that project, on a broader scale, we have outlined a clear vision in a newly adopted strategic plan for the cooperative so we can best serve our members. Our mission of "we exist to serve our members" remains the same, while we have redefined our stated purpose. Our purpose is to provide safe and reliable electric service at the best possible value within our communities, consistent with sound management and cooperative principles. We have posted on our website our newly adopted strategic plan. It establishes 4 institutional pillars to carry out our purpose: safety, security, and risk management, financial stewardship, reliability, and member engagement. In addition, there are 3 support pillars: employee commitment and engagement, governmental and regulatory advocacy, and finally, technology. We will use these pillars to continually evaluate your needs and work to exceed your expectations, pursuing opportunities that will benefit you. No pillar takes precedence over another. Instead, these individual pillars paint a larger picture of how the cooperative can build on 86 years of commitment to service and perform even better in the years to come. One of the first major initiatives inspired by our strategic plan is the adoption of a clean power plan. Our board of directors has worked diligently with staff to shape a strategy to diversify our energy resources, and we anticipate the board will formally approve this document in September. This clean power plan is a summary of the programs and ideas in place today and the opportunities that exist for tomorrow. What I can share now is that our clean energy initiatives cover a lot of ground, and I'll name a few now. Exploring community and member partnerships to grow renewable energy generation in addition to supporting Old Dominion Electric Cooperative, our primary generation provider, in their transition to a zero carbon footprint. Secondly, lighting infrastructure as we work with localities and members to reduce carbon footprint by transitioning to LED lights. Next is the electric vehicle adoption, where we want to accommodate and support the growth in this transportation method. And finally, as some of our examples, the concept of beneficial electrification, which can enhance opportunities to electrify end uses at the home. Achieving our clean energy goals will require smart public policy, significant advances in technologies, and strong business leadership. SVEC will actively engage in all three of those areas. It will be a priority that as we work towards our clean energy goals, we do so while keeping the service we provide affordable for all our members. I appreciate your participation in tonight's meeting. We need engaged members to help us understand your needs and areas where we can improve. We want to hear constructive feedback. To wrap up, I'll take the opportunity to commend SVEC's employees. I cannot speak enough about how fortunate I am to be a part of this organization with employees who are committed to getting things done safely and efficiently. This goes for the crews in the field, to the people behind the scenes in our offices. Just like our strategic pillars cannot stand alone and are a part of our robust unit, no department at the cooperative can perform at its best without all others also getting the job done. They're all equally important in fulfilling our mission. Our team is amazing, and I think it is clearly reflected in the service that we provide to you, our members. Thank you again, and it has been stated before, if you have any questions for us, please press 0 at any time.
Thanks for that, Greg. This is Morgan again. As Greg just stated, if you do have a question for the SVEC board or staff this evening, just press 0 at any time during the phone meeting and someone will assist you in getting that question in our queue. Now, please remember not to discuss personal account-related information while you're on the phone with us this evening. This call is being recorded and will be posted on our website. If you do have a personal account-related question, we're happy to take down your contact information and we can give you a call back during business hours. And now to our attorney, Hannah Hutman, for a review of changes to SVEC's bylaws.
Good evening. The bylaws are the internal rules under which a cooperative, such as SVEC, operates. They tell who can be a member and the rights and duties of members, and they set out the logistics for the annual meeting of the members. The bylaws also cover the election process for the board of directors and how the board members govern and the CEO operates the cooperative. Another key thing addressed in the bylaws is the manner in which capital credits are handled. The board of directors modifies the bylaws from time to time as the need arises and seeks ratification of the recent changes at the annual meeting. In recent years, the changes to the bylaws were primarily focused on increasing the participation of cooperative members in the election of directors by providing for mail-in and online voting and telephonic attendance at the annual meeting. Prior to the 2019 meeting, the board had undertaken a series of modifications involving the process by which candidates for the board of directors were nominated. This process was further modified in 2020. This year, the board continued its efforts to refine the election process by modifying the bylaws to provide for a qualifications committee with members drawn from the cooperative membership that will each serve 3-year terms. These committee members are not existing board members, rather members that are selected specially for this role. The role of this committee is to confirm that candidates seeking election to the board of directors, including the incumbent, should he or she wish to seek re-election, meets the standards for serving as a director. In addition, in the event there is no member seeking election to the board for a particular seat, the qualifications committee is charged with selecting a candidate so that no seat goes unfulfilled. In addition, this year the board implemented changes to the bylaws that will ultimately result in the board being reduced from 10 to 9 members, with the composition of the board being spread evenly among the service territory. In addition, changes were implemented that will ultimately result in each director serving a 3-year term, a reduction from the current 4-year terms, and each year there will be 3 director seats up for election, 1 from each geographical part of the co-op territory. A few typos and formatting glitches were also corrected. But the changes in the Qualifications Committee and the composition of the Board of Directors and term lengths were the only items of potential significance. A copy of the bylaws that shows all the changes has been on the Cooperative's website during the last couple of weeks. Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Ms. Hutman. We recognize that the ratification of bylaws is a topic that may require discussion among members. If you have any questions based on what Ms. Hutman just shared, please press 0 now, and you will have an opportunity to discuss the topics of bylaws, specifically live on air, here momentarily. All other questions will be answered after we address bylaws. Although the board has the duty to keep the bylaws up to date, it has been customary for members to ratify the changes from year to year. Do I hear a motion to do that as to the changes the attorney described? I have a motion and a second to ratify these changes. Is there any discussion? We will pause briefly to allow for any members on the phone to finish submitting questions they may have in relation to the bylaws. On the line and hearing no discussion in the room, all in favor of the motion, please press 1 on your phone now. All opposed, please press 2.
Mr. Chair, it looks like we have 19 who have voted yes and 3 who have voted no.
Okay. The motion carries. At this time, is there any new business to come before the membership? No. Hearing none in the room, I would like to turn it over to Ms. Slavin to moderate any new business from the members or facilitate any questions they may have at this time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We definitely have a few questions here in the queue that we'll address just momentarily. As a last reminder, if you have a question for the SVEC board or staff or an item of new business, please just press 0 at any time during the meeting and someone will assist you. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're going to go with Dawn from Gore. She's got a question about our newsletter. Go ahead, Dawn, with your question.
Thank you. I actually had a question about the bylaws because I find them to be extremely incomprehensible because of the way in which they are drafted. That form of old legalese is no longer in use by most practitioners, and I speak as someone with 50 years of practice as an attorney in 6 states. So it really concerns me that the bylaws have been drafted in this manner, and I tried to bring that up with my representative, Mr. Van Horn, for over a month, and I have been unable to get any response from him. I did, in fact, start to draft a plainer version because I think that membership is entitled to understand the bylaws. As to my question about the newsletter, I've talked with a lot of people here in the Winchester area, and I have yet to find one who is willing to pay extra to have that newsletter. And I know that Mr. Van Horn mentioned to me that it's somehow tied by agreement with the other cooperative in connection with the way in which the annual meeting is held. But most companies don't have, and certainly most cooperatives don't have a newsletter in order to have an annual meeting. Also, I think this is a subject for a referendum among the membership. Yes, we're into a period now of an acknowledged recession, and we need to keep members' bills as low as possible. Paying for a newsletter that is questionably of benefit to the membership. Last month was how to show an alpaca. This is not why I paid my electric bill. And I think that's an issue that needs to go to the membership. It's not going to be of any great cost because we get a monthly bill, so they can easily include another sheet of paper at no additional mailing charge, asking the membership whether or not they do want to pay extra for the newsletter. I had asked Mr. Van Horn to find out the cost of producing that newsletter. And as I say, that was over a month ago, and I've yet to receive a response. And that brings me to the final issue, which is I'd like the management to make sure that we get a slate of officers and directors from whom to make a selection. That's a management obligation. It's not for the membership to take on that responsibility. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. White. This is Hannah Hutman, again, the corporate attorney for Shenandoah Valley Electric Cooperative, and I appreciate your comments with respect to the bylaws. The board routinely reviews the bylaws and attempts to refine the bylaws to address the current needs of the cooperative. The bylaws are required under Virginia law to meet certain legal requirements and also to meet the complex needs of this complex organization. But I would be happy to speak with you about your concerns specifically about any of the specific provisions of the bylaws. Feel free to give me a call. You can reach me at 540-433-2444, and I'd be happy to talk with you about your specific concerns about the bylaws. And I believe now that Mr. Rogers will address some of your concerns regarding the newsletter and the other items that you mentioned.
Thank you very much, Ms. White, also for the second comment there regarding the magazine. The staff does take a hard look. We're always looking at ways to cut costs, and what we have found is with all of the heavy requirements that we have in communicating with our members, we have found the magazine to be very, very cost efficient. But I assure you we continue to monitor those costs as they change over time, and we continue to look for the best way to get information in our members' hands that is of value to them while at the same time controlling our costs. So I appreciate your comment there, and please know that we continue to evaluate those costs as they compare to bill stuffing costs and other ways to get this information out, and make sure that we're always picking not only what gets the lowest cost, but gets the information out to our members that they need to be aware of. So thank you again for that comment as well.
All right, that was a great question there. We're going to move on to our next member in the queue. Bob from Rockingham County has a question about our Clean Power Plan, which Greg mentioned just moments ago in his comments. So, Bob, would you like to go ahead with your question?
Thank you. My question is whether or not in connection with the Clean Power Plan and the tech pillar supporting the co-op, have you assigned someone, and do you have a part of the organization that is looking for the issue of energy storage at the co-op level to help you shave some of the peak, pump storage or batteries or other modalities that can help store energy when power is cheap and deploy it when you need to dispatch it?
Okay, thank you for that question, Mr. Spiller. That's a good question, especially these days. And we have two paths of opportunity here. One is through our Old Dominion Electric Cooperative, our service provider. There are some ongoing reviews of battery operation and the cost of those batteries, as well as the deployment cost and the associated improvements that they allow. So there is study going on at that level, and there's also studies going on in relationship to locally, our EV deployment, our solar deployment, and how batteries might fit into that solution. In addition to the methodology you talked about where you store it when power is cheap and you put it out there, you redisperse it, redispatch it when power is more costly. Batteries and other storage means can also prove to be options for reliability improvements. So we continue to keep all that on our radar out there, watch the technology, watch the cost of the technology, and making sure we're matching up, again, that the lowest cost with the overall value that they might provide to the cooperative. But it's a great question, sir.
Thanks for that question there, Bob. We've got, we're kind of wrapping up on our Q&A session here. We've only got one more question in the queue. So last call here that if you do have a question that you would like to ask of the board or the SVEC staff that's here with us tonight, feel free to go ahead and press 0 and we can get you loaded up in the queue. But for right now, we'll go with Daniel up in Fort Valley, and he's got a question about electric vehicles. Daniel, would you like to go ahead with your question?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm just curious what assumptions SVEC management is making about how quickly its customers are likely to transition to electric vehicles. What are you projecting for how fast that transition is likely to go? And where do you anticipate that the excess power that would be required will come from? Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's another good question. As I mentioned in the answer to my last question, we are in the process of completing a study probably over the next couple of years to evaluate the impacts of electric vehicles across our system. In addition to the membership adoption of electric vehicles, as you all know, we also live in a 81 rich corridor, 64 and 66 corridor that also would provide transient opportunities for load and demand to come into play in addition to our native load, as well as we are a tourist area. So we have folks visiting our area to visit the many attractions that we have, either historical or otherwise, for people to come in from a tourist basis. So in addition to just the membership piece, we are looking on all of those fronts to try to gauge the impact, not only on our distribution system, but as you mentioned, ultimately where that power might come from. The answer, unfortunately, is probably not easily enough to spill it out here. I think the adoption rate from some of the surveys we have right now exists at the 5% level. I think there's anything from 25 to 35% in the next 5 to 10 years thrown out there, and even higher. So we continue to process through that data and look at scenario tracking that will allow us to determine the impacts of it. So I think that's the best answer I can provide now, but just know it's an ongoing evaluation. And as I said in our Clean Power Plan, it's something that is important to us, and we will continue to make sure we not only have the ability to transition that from our membership, but also make sure that our area from a transitory nature and the tourist area is also at least factored into those decisions. Thank you.
It's an exciting time in the electric industry. Lots of new things on the horizon there. So thank you for that question, Daniel. And at this time, we don't have any more questions in the queue, so we're going to wrap up our question and answer session of tonight's program. And we thank you all who called in and asked questions of us this evening. Just remember, you don't have to wait until next year's annual meeting to call back in and ask your questions. We have telephone town halls that we have on a fairly regular basis. You can check those out on our events page on our website, and you can reach out to your board of directors at any time as well. At this time, I'm going to turn the floor over to our attorney, Ms. Hutman, to give us our election results.
Thank you, Morgan. Balloting in the director elections opened on June 29 and ran through this past Monday, August 8. I received the official ballot report yesterday from Survey and Ballot Systems, the company that has handled the ballot logistics. This year, our cooperative members have chosen as a director. For the Southern region, Brent Arbogast. From Page County, Brian Plum. And from Frederick County, Todd Van Horn. I know all co-op members appreciate the willingness of all these highly qualified candidates to stand for these elections. They serve all of us by participating in this way in the democratic governance of our cooperative. Thanks also to the Qualifications Committee for their work this year. Those members were Tammy Canfield, Jeff Germeroth, and James Winkfield. Dr. Helsley?
Thank you. I want to congratulate at this time all those who did run for election for the different seats and also those who won, Brent Arbogast, Brian Plum, and Todd Van Horn. We thank you for all for spending the evening with us, and now ask for the motion to adjourn this annual membership meeting. Chairman, I move the adjournment. And a second. I have a motion and a second for the adjournment. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, please press 1 on your phone. All opposed, press 2.
Chair, we've got 20 who have voted yes on the phone and 1 who has voted no.
Thank you again, and on behalf of the cooperative, I wish you and your family a safe and healthy rest of the year. This meeting is adjourned.